Urkin Meriç's silent move exposes the big truth his followers sensed but could not name. The quiet ending, the sudden unfollow, and that unmistakable glow in his presence after the storm are all anyone can talk about. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Turkish Series Stars. Before we dive deeper, I would love your support with a subscribe and a like, dear friends. Stay with me until the end, because tonight we are unpacking the most whispered breakup rumor of the moment, the serene yet powerful energy Erkan has shown since the split, and the unshakable silence on Hzal Sabesi's side. A pair that stopped following each other on social media, a leading man who looks reborn, and a curtain of mystery over what truly happened behind closed doors. If you love staying updated, this is your stop. Let us peer behind the velvet ropes of this very public, very private ending. Erkan Meriç is smiling again after the breakup, the brightness in his eyes has returned. The whispers say Hzal Sabesi has shut that chapter, and the industry is stunned. Fame is dazzling to the eye, but its light often hides sharper edges. When a star's private life starts swinging like a pendulum, it can lift them into a new chapter or pull the world's gaze straight to their heart. In recent weeks, that is precisely what we witnessed with Erkan, a face beloved by Turkish drama fans and a name recognized beyond borders thanks to his presence on screens and on set. Erkan became a household name with roles that made him the steady, watchful hero, and the public image he carefully built projected discipline, warmth, and quiet charm. He and Hazal, who herself captivates with a calm confidence and a modern grace, seemed balanced from the outside. There were photos of shared holidays, glimpses of them at events, casual dinners, and tender moments caught by cameras when they thought no one was looking. Together, they painted the picture of a relationship that was steady even in the whirlwind of show business. But then everything shifted in a heartbeat. One morning, fans noticed they no longer followed each other on Instagram. The albums remained untouched. The smiling memories were still there, but the digital thread connecting them was gone. That single action hit like a bell in a quiet room, ringing across the tabloids and timelines. Unfollowing is the discreet language of celebrity endings, and when it happens without an explanation, it roars louder than any statement ever could. What stunned everyone even more was the change that followed in Erkan's demeanor. It was as if a veil had slipped away. He looked lighter. The fatigue around the eyes softened. His posture seemed freer, his grin spontaneous rather than practiced. Fans kept repeating the same idea with relief and excitement, that aura from earlier years, the one that felt authentic and open, had returned. Many insisted he looked better than ever. The first spark of the split showed up as that quiet, decisive unfollow. In this business, unfollowing is never just a tap, it is a message. Some couples handle rough patches without touching social media, yet high-profile romances often signal endings this way. Erkan and Hzal chose silence instead of captions or cryptic quotes, they simply withdrew from each other's follow lists. The posts remained, a gallery of a story that existed, perhaps a sign of lingering affection or a refusal to erase history. The commentariat split into two camps. One group said the breakup had happened very recently, and the feelings had not faded enough to take down the shared moments. The other, more strategic reading suggested this was a social media cleanse that did not necessarily mean the door was fully closed. For a couple long pressed by attention, either theory could be true. Yet the unfollow was a line in the sand, an action that says more than any long explanation can. That dissonance between the untouched photos and the cut digital cord only fueled a greater frenzy. On Hzal's front, the tone turned colder and more deliberate. She offered no statements. No pointed captions. No public tears. Her feed leaned into craft, set life, and solitary frames that glowed with a self-contained calm. Fans read different things into it. Some said she had returned to her own lane, focusing on work in close circles. Others sensed a quiet storm under the practiced smile. The performance of strength is still strength, but sometimes it is also a shield. Her message, if there is one, seemed to be that she is fine and untouchable, placing boundaries without uttering a word. Whispers from those who claim to know suggested another angle. Maybe Hzal did not want a full stop, hence the intact photos. Such claims are impossible to verify in a world where feelings rarely share their own script. The only certainty is her silence, and how loudly that silence speaks. On the other side, Urkin's post-breakup energy powered the rumor mill like fuel. In every candid snap, he appeared rested and alive. He posted more from the gym, more from the open air, more from corners of the city where sunlight falls differently on a person who is breathing again. Fans insisted they had not seen that level of genuine ease in a long time. Where others withdraw to heal, he seemed to rebuild in public, choosing motion over retreat, strength over rumination. Some called it breakup confidence, others framed it as the dawn of a new phase. Naturally, everyone began asking why. Without official statements, the conversation turned to theories, 4 of them rising above the rest. First came the workload reality. Urkin's calendar has long been packed with shoots, rehearsals, brand commitments, and training, a schedule that turns days into marathons. Hzal's commitments have also placed her on disciplined timetables, with filming blocks, campaigns, and events that pull a person from city to city. 2 professionals moving at different speeds can struggle to find a shared rhythm. Love needs time, and time is the one luxury fame resists granting. Then came the murmurs of jealousy, the hush-hush talk that one side did not feel at ease with the other's social circle during the later months. Nobody named names. Nobody offered details. But that subtle, constant pressure can wear down patience and erode trust when it sits in the background too long. Third was the perpetual lens. In Istanbul, the cameras find you even in quiet neighborhoods. Every stroll, every glance, becomes content for someone else's feed. Privacy shrinks in increments until a couple realizes the space they need to breathe has become a hallway. Add the intensity of trending topics and speculative captions, and even the strongest bond can feel like it is being tested in public. Finally, there is the matter of temperament. Urkin thrives on discipline and a measured life, connected deeply to training and routine. Hzal has a vibrant, sociable ease, a warmth that gravitates toward people and moments that feel spontaneous. In the early chapters of a romance, that contrast creates sparks and fascination. Over time, if not balanced, it can lead to friction. Which of these explanations holds the answer remains unknown, but they all carry the weight of plausibility. There is also the question of where the heart chooses to heal. So why Izmir, people asked, when the industry pulses in Istanbul? Right after the split became obvious, Urkin's presence shifted to the Aegean air instead of city hustle. The talk was that he had meetings for new work, that he was attending special gatherings, and that a change of scenery was not just strategic but necessary. Some insist the breakup found its voice there, that the process began far from the familiar corners of the business. Whatever the truth, Ismir looked good on him, and the comment sections agreed with a chorus that said this glow feels like freedom more than heartbreak. The reactions came fast. People wrote that the split had served him, that there was a genuine peace in his eyes, that he had never looked so radiant. Others pushed back against any cruelty toward Hzal, while noting that Urkin refused to stoke negative talk, a choice that read as composed and grown. The narrative forming around him is of a man stepping away from noise and leaning into a quieter, stronger self. Is there someone new waiting in the wings? That is the question the gossip world always rushes to ask. It is frankly too early to tell. Urkin's days look full again, and after a private life turned public, it seems he is choosing to stand on his own for a while. He gives off a sense that he did not see this twist coming but is ready to write the next page without hurry. It is hard to imagine a star of his profile remaining single for long, and cameras are already tuned for any sign of a spark. But for now, the story is not about a replacement, it is about renewal. One love story might have closed, but it has unlatched a door to a new era. The lightness in his steps, the uptick in output, the renewed presence online, all of it feels like a banner announcing a shift. Sometimes love builds you. Sometimes it drains you. Sometimes it frees you. The consensus in this corner of the gossip universe is that this ending leans toward liberation, the kind that allows a person to return to themselves and then rise. That does not mean there is no ache. Breakups leave their traces no matter how composed the faces are. But the way both sides have navigated this moment is telling. Hzal's silence, controlled and steady, communicates on its own frequency. Urkin's forward motion hums with the rhythm of someone who has chosen clarity. If the silence on one end is a locked door, the movement on the other is a window letting in air. There are also small details that fans dissect like detectives. An unfollow is unmistakable, but a still visible photo becomes a clue. A new haircut is read like a manifesto. A caption about discipline becomes a thesis on personal seasons. A trip to the coast turns into a metaphor for emotional horizon. This is the way celebrity love stories play out in real time, refracted through the lenses of millions who project, empathize, and guess. Work, too, might be a sanctuary. When a set calls, it offers structure and purpose, a world where emotions can tuck themselves behind a role until they are ready to be felt again. The gym adds the therapy of repetition and sweat. Long walks absorb rough edges. Close friends stand guard as confidants, filters, and quiet witnesses to a transformation that may look sudden to us but often happens slowly, day by day. Those four theories still circle like satellites. The pace of work. The question of trust. The relentless attention. The contrast of personalities. You could build a case out of each and still not touch the whole truth. Perhaps that is the point. Relationships, especially under a spotlight, are seas with unseen currents. What matters, in the end, is what the people in them decide they need in order to breathe. So where does this leave them? Urkin seems intent on building without noise. Hzal appears set on guarding her space and sharpening her focus. The grace in not speaking can be a stance of dignity. The grace in moving forward can be a stance of hope. In the midst of opinion storms, both choices feel deliberate. And what about the future? The industry chatter is that Urkin is circling new scripts and collaborations, that he is exploring roles designed for his seasoned presence. The breeze from Ismir might have cleared the mind enough to greet those opportunities with fresh eyes. For fans, that means a season of work that mirrors this reset, roles with depth, stories that echo the growth we are now watching between the lines. The arc of this tale may not end with a grand statement. It may settle into a quiet understanding that not all love stories are meant to last forever. Some arrive to teach, to mirror, to awaken. When they end, they leave a person more themselves than before. That is the feeling floating around this chapter. A gentle goodbye in action, if not in words. A promise that what comes next will be brighter because the shadows were faced. Tell me what you think of Urkin's renewed glow. Do you believe a breakup can unlock a truer version of a person, or do you think this has been part of a larger plan all along? Share your thoughts. If you enjoyed this deep dive, remember to like the video, subscribe to Turkish series stars, and turn on notifications so you are first to know when new stories drop. See you in the next one. Stay well and keep your heart light. Good night.